Here we go, picture up, Helmet Outlaw, take one. I'm Magnus Walker. It's Friday, it's 11:30. We're in downtown LA and we're shooting a video about his 73T. We all speak Porsche, and this is a perfect example. I met Helmet back in 2013, just before he actually acquired this car. 6 years ago, the car was basically a stock 73T. Helmet and I both spoke the same language of Porsche and kind of became buddies, went for a few drives up our favorite roads, and Helmet sort of discussed how he'd like to modify the car, how he liked my inspiration and my interpretation of what I call the sport purpose streetable track Porsches. My sort of favorite era is late 60s, early 70s. So Helmet basically asked me if I'd like to be involved in sort of transforming his car. But what started out as this original Minerva Blue 73T has evolved into the car that you see before us. It's inspired by the sport purpose cars of the 60s and 70s. So my involvement essentially was I did the cosmetics of it. My buddy Matt from Alchemy Paint actually painted the stripes down in Long Beach. I got Helmet a louvered rear deck lid, and then it's rolling on one of the very early sets of 1552 Outlaw wheels that measure 15 by 7s and 8. Helmet drove it that way for a couple of years and then decided that he needed more power, more suspension, you know, the go faster, stop better, handle better bits. So that was where Marco at TLG came in, and my buddy Marty at VDS helped out with the suspension package. I've driven it before in stock form, and I've driven it in its current form, and I got to tell you, it's a real screamer and a real fun car in the canyons.
My name's Rod Emery. I've been in the Porsche racing and restoration business for a little over 30 years. I've built and restored over 170 cars, ranging from 356s like the 356 SL that won Le Mans in 1951, all the way up to some of Porsche's prototype race cars and a little bit of everything in between. Our workshop is located in North Hollywood, California. We build and restore about 15 cars a year, full restoration. So we disassemble the cars 100%, put them in an octagon rotisserie and do all the rust repair, chassis stiffening, and then repair all the metal work. You know, these cars have gone through a lot of various stages in their life, so there's lots of work to be done. And it takes about 12 to 14 months for us to complete a project from start to finish. So most of the cars that we build in the workshop here, we do a full restoration, which means the cars come 100% apart, and we do everything from start to finish. And we don't really do any small projects, but every once in a while, a good friend will roll up in a cool, interesting car, and we lend a hand. And that's exactly what happened with Helmet's 1973 911. He showed up after he had been over at Magnus's place, and they did wheels and did some stripes and some cool stuff to it, and wanted kind of some guidance and help in just giving it that extra little touch, and also some mechanical advice. So Helmet drove the car right into my workshop, and I was at the time restoring a 1967 rally car, and I did an amber fiberglass dash with no upholstery on it. and he saw that and immediately lit up. And so we did another dash for his car, and what was cool is the amber, kind of raw amber look went really well with the gold MAGNUS wheels that he put on it, and also the stripe. And then from there, you know, I went for a ride with Helmut. You know, great car, really, you know, nice, well-sorted little car, but he wanted more power and wanted to go through the car mechanically. And since that's not really our expertise here in the workshop, I introduced him to Marco over at TLG Auto, and the two of them immediately hit it off and took the car to the next level. Engine and gearbox came out of the car. They built a really strong twin plug engine for it, some great gears, and put it all back in and really turned the thing into an amazing, you know, driving car. And you know, for anybody looking for a car that they can just get in, enjoy, be accepted, and make it to every event, that's the car for them.
Marco GERACE, and I am the owner-operator of TLG Auto in North Hollywood, California. We are a Porsche repair and restoration shop. We've been here in this building, about 35 years. My dad opened the place in 1978, and I've been working here since basically I was born. You know, being the son of a Porsche mechanic, you grow up in and around the cars. So, you know, I fell in love with these cars at an early age. Everything was measured against them. Every other car ever made was measured against the Porsches that I grew up in and the experiences that I had. And I just, I love the way they drive, the way they sound, the way they smell. And I think they're a real modern marvel. The fact that they do the things they do, they punch way above their weight class. Well, this is a 1973 911T. I met the owner through some other people in the industry, namely Rod Emery, who's a good friend of mine. He introduced me to the owner. At the time, my father was still alive, and we all kind of sat down to discuss the scope of the project and what the owner wanted to accomplish. The car being Gemini blue with flares on it, you know, reminded me of my dad's car. And so we kind of wanted to build a car that had that formula because it had been working in my dad's Gemini Blue 73T previously for many years, and what we learned from that project we could apply to this project. And the owner was very receptive. He's a wonderful guy, and he's into motorsports, and so we decided to build the car with a 2.8 liter twin plug mechanically fuel injected motor based on the original engine case. The 92 millimeter pistons and cylinders. I had some good new old stock parts laying around, and you know, we massaged down everything a little bit and we came up with a pretty good end result. While the car was here doing the motor, the owner chose to also have us do the suspension, so we did the suspension overhaul from front to back. Everything from bushings and shocks to torsion bars, and we had the alignment done, you know, corner weighted with a competition alignment. The car handles and drives wonderfully. And then after the car was on the road for about a year or so, the motor used up the gearbox because the gearbox was original to the car. It was 30 some odd years old, and when you put, you know, 200 plus horsepower behind it, it accelerated the wear of the gearbox. So we just recently went through the entire gearbox and we put in all kinds of strengthening plates and, you know, a stronger side cover. The car has a limited slip differential, and it's a hell of a driver. It really is wonderful to drive.